Hello everyone and welcome to another Fallout 76 tips and tricks video. Today I'm going to be showing you how to put items on shelves. Before we get started though, I would like to give a quick shout out to one of my patrons over on Patreon, Calico Jack Rackham. Thank you very much for supporting my channel. I appreciate it so much. Alright, let's get to this. Now, I know a lot of people have already made videos about this. I haven't made any tips, very many tips and tricks videos in Fallout 76 yet because it is a little bit more difficult than making them in Fallout 4, and so I just haven't gotten around to it, but people have been asking me to, and so I just finally decided to, and I thought this would be the one to make since I was putting some stuff on shelves in my own camp, and I thought, hey, I should just go ahead and make a video of this. I did not come up with these, this technique. Well, I kind of came up with a version of it on my own. I've seen other people do this in camps, you know, that I visited in the game and stuff like that. So I'm not sure who originally came up with the idea. So unfortunately, I can't credit anybody. I've seen lots of people do this. Anyways, so there are a few different ways to do it, and also there are a few different types of shelves, and all of them have to be done a slightly different way. The big shelf, this little tiny brown shelf, and then these larger metal shelves. We've got the little wooden shelf down here, and we've got this like display case sort of shelf that is always empty because you can never put anything inside it. But that is, you know, obviously not completely true. You can put stuff inside it. Not very many things, though, will fit in there. It's a very small shelf. So most of the items available currently are too large to fit inside that one. But anyway, I will show you exactly how to do each of these. So there are a few different ways to actually put items on shelves. The main one that I've seen people do the most is by using a conduit. Now I will show you. I'll just go ahead and build. I'll just go ahead and do one. I'll start with a small shelf for today. So we'll just put one here. Now what you're going to want to do is, you can probably see that I've got a conduit down here next to these shelves. Each one, well, not that one, but this one, you can hide the conduit with items. But what that does, you're going to want to get a conduit. There we go. One of these, and you're going to need, so you'll need the advanced conduits plan in order for this to work. Okay. Now, these flat ones could work. I personally think that I've seen a lot of people use these ones. I personally think that this one works a little bit better, the power radiator conduit, because it actually has a little bump on the top that raises it up a little higher. And for these shelves, I personally think it works a little bit better. But anyways, you guys can use whichever one you think works best. Sometimes the flatter one works a little bit better. It really depends on different factors. Anyways, then you're going to go to floor decor, and you'll want to use a rug. So you'll need to get the welcome mats plan for that one. I usually use this rug because it's a little bit less obvious. It's not as hard to, it's not as easy to see, I should say. And then you want to put the rug as far away from the conduit as you can without it plopping down onto the floor. So you want it to be floating. You want it to be actually on top of the conduit, but as far to the edge of the conduit as possible. And then once you grab the conduit, you can move the rug around like that. Okay? Then you're going to want to put more rug on, and usually you only need about 2 for these regular sized shelves there. Make sure it's nice and lined up. If you have trouble with your rug popping down underneath the raised one, stand back, because sometimes they want to keep popping down underneath like this. But if you stand back really far and look at it from far away, that usually will pop back up. If you're doing it up really close, and then once you place it, you can come up closer and adjust it. But if you're trying to place it down originally this close to it, it's gonna probably sink through the other one. That's just how finicky they are. Anyways, once you got it lined up the way you want, bring it over to the shelf and try to slide it in right like that. You want the rugs to reach, and you can even put it next to it to measure. You want the rugs to reach all the way across the shelf, but not poke out the other side. Now, if you have the problem where the rug is poking up through the shelf like this, because you kind of want to hide the rugs, it's not always possible. Like on this one, you can see that I've got a rug showing, but on these other shelves the rug isn't showing. On this shelf the rug isn't showing. And it could be just because of how your shelf is setting. Like for instance, this shelf is on top of this rug here. And so it might be just different variations in the floor might cause your rug to poke up through your shelf or not. So if you don't like it showing, that's when you would probably want to use the other one, this one, because this one's a little bit flatter. It's not as it doesn't stick up as high. So you know, you can just sort of fiddle with it, see what works best for your situation. See, it goes straight in underneath, completely hides the rug. You want to check to make sure it's not poking out the other side. Once you have your rug the right size that you want, you can start putting stuff on it. Now, you may have noticed that each shelf has something tall on it that completely reaches the top of the other shelf that's above it. There's always something that will go all the way to the next shelf underneath. And there's a reason for that. The yellow crate I found is perfect size for this because it fits perfectly in there. This is the wooden crate. I think it's called the wooden crate or the wooden box plan, but anyways. So if you just stick that on there, you can put it on either side, anywhere, it doesn't really matter, but you want it to, especially if your rug is showing, you want it to cover the rug completely. And so as you can see, slide that in there, it goes straight up to the top of the shelf above it, or just underneath the shelf above it. Then you can put some other stuff down next to it if you want to, but then you're going to want to put something else. Well, first put a rug, put more rugs on top. And again, you might need to stand back at a distance to get them to go on exactly. Put on a couple. You might have to put 3 if they don't reach across all the way, since they like to turn red. So make sure that they are the same so that it doesn't stick out. Even if making it slightly smaller would be a good idea. Check, make sure they're all lined up. And then once you got them in place, you can stick this under here to make sure that you have it the way you want it. Make sure that there's no rug sticking out or anything like that. I'm not going to try to make it perfect for just the demonstration purposes, because you know, you can spend hours working on this trying to make it exactly right. Alright, so the next thing, now you got to pick another object that's going to stand tall enough to reach to the third shelf. In this case you don't have to, because the third shelf is the top one and you can place stuff on the top shelf just fine without doing the trick. But if you're doing a shelf like this, you know, you've got 4 shelves that you need to fill. So I'll show you. Well, actually, I'll just point out some things that work. Like, for instance, the frog jar is just tall enough. This this box, the large toolbox, is not quite tall enough. It's slightly shorter than the yellow box. The yellow box is perfect. The yellow box is absolutely perfect. So you can actually use the yellow box as a measuring tool if you wanted to. Just build one in your camp and then start placing other items next to it. You can see that this box is a little bit smaller. Go into your floor decor, and obviously if you have items from the item shop, you're going to have more stuff to put in here. There's going to be more stuff available to you. Let me see. The other items that could fit. Don't ignore your lighting department here. There are several lamps that are perfect sizes for this, and I believe this is one of them. You can place your lamps up against this yellow box. If they're the same height as the yellow box, it'll work. This one is a little bit too tall, and so is this one. You just kind of go through and check your different lamps and to see. I know that the globe lamp is just right. I've used the globe lamp there. So other thing, well, for this shelf. So this shelf, this brown shelf, and these other taller shelves, they're not the same. So the things that I'm using on this one, you can't use on those ones for the same reasons. But so for instance over here, what I've got here is this blue lamp is holding up everything on this shelf. These suitcases, 2 suitcases stacked on top of each other, perfect height. You can also do something like this. As you can see here, I have a footlocker, then I have a power conduit on top of it, and a clock on top of that. And those all stacked on top of each other are the perfect height. And you know, when you're just passing by, it doesn't really look, you know, weird. Not really. So anyways, just go through your menus and see what you got. You know, test things and see what works. So once you've got, for the sake of the quickness of this, I'm just going to put this here, and then you can put, let's put this lamp here as well. You can see this way. The lamp is probably going to be the one that holds up the rug. Now some things won't take a rug on top of them, and some things will if you fiddle with it. You just gotta kind of fiddle with it. Try different angles if it doesn't work immediately. Sometimes stuff doesn't want to go until you find a certain angle. Sometimes they won't go at all. So like I got the lamp to work on that one, but for some reason it doesn't work on this one, and that's just the way it is. But anyways, once you have your items stacked on there, and you can also sometimes add items after the fact, like because they'll still slide underneath, so you can put your little toys under there even after you put the rug on. Not always, but a lot of the time you can. Then you just grab your thing in here, slide it in like that. And you've got stuff on the shelf. Now, the conduit is the conduit way. The conduit way is the most common way that I've seen people do this. You can also, you don't have to place the conduit on the side if you don't want to. You can place it on the back to completely hide it. I've done that with this one. The reason why people put it on the side is because if you put it in the back, it doesn't fit, but it will fit if you change your wall into a door and then place the conduit in the doorway. See that? If you put your shelf, you put a doorway in your wall, put a shelf right up against the door, right in the middle of the door. You can even turn it back into a wall to make sure you've got your space. See, it's too far away, so move it back in a little bit closer. Try it again. That's close enough for now. Leave it into a door, and then just grab your conduit, push it in. You can use the, by the way, you can use the ones that point downwards into the floor. They will work just fine too. Whatever you manage to grab. And voila. Now again, not many things fit on this shelf. This is a very small shelf. So then turn it back into a wall, and there you go. You've got a conduit completely hidden. Everybody will be like, how did they get that in there? They can tell it's on rugs, right? Because with this shelf, it's a little bit lower to the ground than these ones. And so the conduit's a little bit too high to make the rugs underneath the shelf. But the rugs are just the right size. And they kind of match the grunginess of this particular shelf. So I think it doesn't look bad. And you know, maybe you just wanted to decorate your shelf a little bit with a little bit like, you know, a doily or something. This little rug, little piece of cloth on your shelf. Well, people do that, right? My mom always did that when I was a kid. Anyways, yeah, I found it really difficult to find items that could actually fit on this shelf. That's which is why I didn't put anything on the top, on the second shelf, because I just couldn't find anything else that would fit. It's a very small shelf and not a lot of stuff will fit in there, and the top one, or the second shelf I should say, is actually shorter than the bottom shelf. So that one's a little bit more difficult to get things into. Now, so there's another way that you can do it is by putting the conduit in the back. Another way you can do it is by putting the conduit on a rug. I don't know if you can see that, but there is actually a conduit under there. The same kind. It's the same kind of conduit. Oh, you know what? I just realized it got dark while I've been recording, and I'm having a hard time seeing. And now I need to stand up there. But anyways, you can put the conduit on a rug, which also hides it. Because maybe you don't have a wall that you can turn into a door. For whatever reason. I mean, there could be any number of reasons why you can't turn your wall into a door. Or maybe you don't have your shelf next to, like for instance this one. This one's positioned between walls. And so you can't turn it into a door behind it and hide it. That way you can just put the conduit on a rug and put it under the shelf. You can still see the rug, but I think it's a little bit less obvious than conduits sitting right next to shelves. I think it is anyways. So actually this is my preferred way to do it. And this is the technique that I developed for myself. I don't know if I made it. Somebody else might have been doing it this way as well, but I've never seen anybody do it that way. So I came up with that idea myself. Which is also how I did this shelf. I've never seen anybody put anything on these shelves. again, that doesn't mean nobody has. I've just never personally seen it. Usually people use those ones because these shelves are too tall. The bottom shelf is up too high off the ground for the conduit to work. So what I've done with this shelf is I use this blue box that you get from the nuclear winter, whatever it's called, nuclear winter thing, you know, where you go in and do the PvP and all that. Well, you win this box after you reach a certain level, and I can't remember which level it is. Sorry, it's been a long time since I got this box. But it's a pretty low level. So if you've never played Nuclear Winter, you can get this box pretty quickly by just, you know, leveling up a few times. I can't remember. Somebody down in the comments will probably mention what level you have to be in order to get this box. But this box is perfect height. So if you place the box on a rug, and then you can place rugs on top of that box, and it slides into there perfectly. I mean, it can't be any more perfect than that. Can it? No, sirree, it cannot. Now, other things that you can do. This shelf is actually a little bit easier to decorate, I thought, because its shelves are a little bit closer together. And so you can actually have access to more items than these larger shelves. Like the globe, the Deathclaw eggs will fit. Well, you can put the lamps on top of, or not the lamps, but the rugs on top of that. So I put a footlocker under here, and then I put a conduit on top of that, and that was perfect height as well. So there's different ways that you can add items to the shelves like this. Just experiment. Just go have fun experimenting with it. It's you can spend hours, literally hours, fiddling with this stuff. I'm serious. I spent hours doing this. Now, for the big shelf, it's a similar thing with the rug. I used this to hide the rug a little bit better. No! There. So see? I just put the large stash box, which is the perfect height. This one, even though I think they're the same height, they look the same height to me, but this one won't fit under there. It's red. It won't go under. I think it's a little bit taller. But anyway, so what I did is I put a couple rugs right out on the end, or just one. I just put one rug right out on the end and then stuck these suitcases on it. This is a large shelf, and so it was kind of, I thought more like it needed to be more like a large storage shelf, right? I mean, you can put whatever you want on it, but since it's such a large shelf, come on, select the rug. Since it's such a large shelf, it might need larger items to be put on it. Now it's only one shelf. I don't think there's, yeah, I guess there is a three height version of it. So, but anyway, you'll have to just experiment with stacking items. It might be a little bit difficult to get a rug level with the second shelf. I haven't actually practiced the 3-shelf one, so just experiment on your own. Now, once you know the technique, it's, you know, the sky's the limit. Figure out whatever you want to put on it. You only need one item on each shelf that's tall enough to start the next shelf. All the other items can be any configuration of things that you want. All kinds of stuff can fit on here. Yeah. Now, let's talk about this one. This one's completely different, obviously, because this shelf has glass. And so you have to get items inside there. So there's this little trick, and I don't know who came up with this trick either. I've just seen it around. But it is, you actually stack items as well in here. And underneath it, you stack toys underneath. So, it's because this little guy, the Sheep Squatch plushie from the Atom Shop, of course all of these items here in this little bundle are from the Atom Shop, and I don't know if all of them are currently available, but they come back occasionally in sales and stuff, so keep an eye out on the Atom Shop for items to come back if they're not currently there. But the Sheep Squatch plushie behaves a little bit differently than any other plushie in that he doesn't like to go on things. He often likes to go into things. I mean, you can put him on things, but you have to actually literally lift him up there. You can push him through practically everything, which makes it so that you can actually push him through. If you stack stuff on top of him, you can just literally push him through this shelf and items are inside it. If you stack the little Willard plushies on top of him, 3 Willard plushies stacked on top of him is the perfect height to start the bottom shelf. And then you have to figure out how to stack the other items on top of each other. It's hard because some things won't go on top of other things. Like for instance, the Mr. Fuzzy plushies. The cowboy plushie is the only plushie that will allow other things to be put on top of it. So you can't use the Mr. Fuzzy plushies for this purpose, except the cowboy one. So yeah, and you know, it's not perfect. Obviously, you can see that their feet are sinking in, but you know, it's a way to use the shelf to make it look a little bit more interesting, a little bit more lived in and used. You know what I mean? Same thing. You can do that with other things too. Like I got this little Willard plushie inside this oven because I put him on top of a a Sheep Squatch plushie. You just slide him right in there. Boom. You can do that with with a lot of different things. So experiment, you guys. Just get out there and experiment with different shelf configurations. It opens up a whole new level of camp decorating, and it makes your houses look lived in. And especially if you wanted to make a shop, like a store or something, you could actually have stocked shelves in your store. Now, of course, do keep in mind that doing this is going to max out your build budget a lot faster than ever before. Not only are you placing more things down than you probably would have if they were just sitting on top of tables and stuff, you're also placing rugs. And rugs, you know, each rug counts towards your build budget just as much as any of these other things. And same with the conduits. Conduits actually count towards your build budget a little bit more, I think. I'm not positive about that, but so maybe you might want to use only rugs. So, you know, just experiment with it and use as few rugs as you can get away with. That's generally what I do. In some cases, you might have to stack rugs. So I have a few stacked here because, see, this large toolbox isn't quite tall enough. And you can kind of see that the radio and these suitcases are sinking into the shelf. And I've also got several rugs stacked on top of each other right here to try to make a little bit more height. So you can do that if you want. But again, each rug counts towards your build budget. So just be mindful of that, because if you're making a very large house, and then trying to put a bunch of really decorated shelves inside, you're going to really run out. You can look at my build budget right there. You can see the size of my house here. the number of items I have in it, which is quite a lot, but I don't have any other furniture except for these. I do have quite a bit of lights though. I wanted to light up this place real well for my video because I knew it would get dark. I'm just letting you see my house is not very big. I do have a porch all around it, and I have a CD shed with a few workbenches in it. So that is what I have built in this camp currently, and you can see my build budget is more than halfway full. I still have quite a bit of room, but probably just if I put like some furniture in here, you know, it would fill it up pretty quick. So just keep that in mind. I do have a generator, and I have quite a few generators actually. I have 2 water purifiers out here, and I have a big stack of generators because they don't make any noise, and I don't like them making noise in my videos. So anyways, you guys, so I was just telling you all that so you can kind of get an idea of how much build budget this camp is using up based on, you know, all the things that I have out already. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope you guys got some cool ideas from it. Let me know down in the comments what you think, and if you know any other ways to put items on shelves, if you guys have already been doing it, but have been doing it in a different way, let me know. If you haven't heard about this before, and this is the first time you've heard about it, let me know down in the comments. I'd love to know. And if you have any screenshots to share of your decorated camps, I would love to see them. You can go join my subscriber Discord server. The link is down in the description, and you can go join that and post screenshots. I'd love to see them. Or if you don't want to join my Discord server, I'm on Twitter and Facebook as well, and you can share stuff with me there. So anyways, you guys, that's going to be it for this video. I'm going to try to make some more tips and tricks videos now. I've been doing a lot more experimenting with camp items and stuff like that. I think I'm going to make some more videos on decorating and different tips and stuff for making unique decorations for your camp. Yeah, I'm kind of getting inspired a little bit. So expect more videos. I'm not sure exactly when they'll be coming out, but I'm trying to get them out as, you know, soon as I can. So anyways, you guys, that's all for today. Until next time, remember to play safe, play nice, and have fun. Bye, guys.